Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 378 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on January 2nd, 2023.
We need your help to support the Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt, just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
This brings us to my... Oh no, what's happening? Something weird happened. Did I fix it?
I didn't notice anything,
I
so I
didn't
think you're
notice
good.
anything weird happened.
We're still alive.
Somehow I created an audio loop and hopefully it won't be there and I'll fix it in post and this will be fine. Which brings us to, this is my favorite segment. It's called What Are We Drinking? And as is tradition, I will start with Liz. Liz, what are you drinking?
Well, tonight I am drinking tea with scotch in it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I had to out the scotch and it's just bourbon, but it's still really good. It's the rest of that Angel's Envy stuff. Really good bourbon.
Nice.
So for clarity, for those of you playing along at home, Liz is drinking whiskey and scotch, but it's actually bourbon.
No.
Is
Yeah.
that no?
No,
Yes?
tea
No.
and scotch, but it's actually not scotch, it's bourbon.
Right.
Yeah.
I said whiskey. That doesn't make tea
No,
and
there's-
scotch, but it's tea and bourbon. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tea and bourbon.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then a couple of things that I've done off of the Patriot Challenge is I'm learning some new skills. Just being in school is kind of a big one. And I don't know, just training. I'm in the middle of like a
Training.
big workout cycle. So that's pretty
Oh.
good. Yeah. Yeah. And this coming weekend is monthly winter camping. So that's going to be happening. Not really wintry, but it'll be fine, whatever. So yeah, that's, oh, and I was working on my annual planning today for, goals, objectives, and evaluation from last year. So
Perfect. We're going to do a whole bunch of that in a minute.
love it. Love it.
In writing, this is called foreshadowing.
Oh, there you go.
Or a teaser
There you
in
go.
video.
I would never propose a teaser.
Wah, wah.
Come on.
I got it. Gavin, you're up.
All right, as per usual, drinking the waters for Patriot Challenge. Did my reading, crushed my reading goal for the year. Added a few extra books on top of that. Got out to the range a couple times to practice a skill. Shot a match. Got to have lunch with Dave and Andrew in person. It was good times.
It was the diviest dive bar I've ever dived.
Oh
at.
yeah,
It
and
was so good.
Yeah, the local character was in prime shape at what, like 1:30 for New Year's Eve. It was a good time. Yeah, they were.
I like going to the dive bar where the drinking starts at noon for the celebration at midnight. That's
Yeah,
So
they,
you went
They were all over
shooting-
Dave.
So you went shooting on New Year's
Yeah,
Eve.
in the morning.
in the morning.
The morning of New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and then just like went to the
Yeah.
local dive bar and just didn't stop.
No, we stopped. They had started probably earlier than we had got there, and we're in fine shape.
yeah, like you can start serving at 11 and they were starting at like 11:01. Like they'd
Yeah.
been
Oh, got it.
they were well into
Yeah.
their cups by the time that we had left, and it was many, many hours from midnight.
Yeah, it's good times. Ian, what about you, sir?
Well, tonight I'm drinking, I feel like I'm almost left out, but thank goodness for Liz. I'm drinking Lamb's Navy rum and a cola of unspecified origin. I had some leftover rum from the holidays due to the lack of pina coladas being served by the daughter. And as I went and got this from the liquor store, I asked if it was sodomy and lash free, and it turned out it was, despite being Navy rum. So, hey,
Well, there's a little bit of sodomy. You paid tax on it.
that's true. So
A lot of sodomy in that case.
yeah, I don't know if Liz got that reference or not, but
I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, Patriot Challenge. I've been chopping down trees the last 3 days, so lots of exercise going on there. Went to the range twice in the last week, and obviously always got the water handy, and it's being drank on a regular basis. And I think that's pretty much it. Just typical reading, nothing special. And I guess Pierre.
Don't tell Mel, but I'm drinking scotch. We almost ran out of whiskey. So
She's
drinking
on
scotch
the-
tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna
She's
say
on the
you just
chat,
told her
bro.
there, bud. Yeah, you,
Yeah, I know, but you guys don't tell her. I'll deal with it later.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm drinking some of her scotch because we didn't have a lot of rum left, or whiskey. Sorry. Patriot Challenge, got a little bit some reading done. Still starting to get the feel for those picks on those locks that I always have handy, and starting to get a little bit more consistent than just popping it once real fast and then 3 days later getting it again. Yeah, we're looking at some property, and I'm not practicing the skill, but drawing out some plans for hopefully building a house or establishment, hopefully this year, but we'll see. So definitely going to get some carpentry skills in the works this year. So
I
looking
would say
forward to it.
planning is for sure a skill.
Yeah, design is
Yeah.
definitely a skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not doing any of it. Like she
Oh.
did it all, and she's like, "Does that look good?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So like, I'm not doing much of that.
smiling and
a little
nodding
bit
is
of a
also a skill.
True.
Right? Like I'm not saying I don't have any input, but like I'm not gonna draw it out. She can do it, and then we'll get someone to make plans, so it's all legit and everything. But like, yeah, we're coming up with plans, thinking of best bang for our buck for what we can do this year. So we'll see what happens. What about you, Andrew?
I'm drinking water.
Sorry to hear that.
Why?
And that ends the podcast. We'll see you all never. Have a nice no, that's not true. We're gonna do listener feedback here, and we're gonna talk about New Year, New You, or in my case, New Year, same bullshit. I am, however, doing 75 hard,
Oh, okay.
which requires me to not drink.
For 75
I-
days.
Are you actually giving it a go?
Consistently?
We're on day 2 of being sober, and I gotta say, not a fan.
Yeah, try being like 3 months in, bud.
I know.
So
and
I
that's
take it
kinda
you
why
were the
I'm like-
DD the other day at the dive bar then, Gavin.
Well, we all drove there.
Oh,
They weren't like they had a beer, but they weren't
right.
drinking.
No, but I mean,
Not early.
We had a beer and chicken wings for lunch,
Yeah.
like a normal person. We
Yeah.
did not get sloppy at the dive bar.
who
at
knew
1 in the
that was
afternoon.
Andrew's last beer?
Well, for
I knew that was
70
Andrew's last beer.
75 days, anyways. 73 days now.
But if
So-
Gavin can do it, how hard could it be?
That's true.
Well,
Oh.
okay, so hold on.
Oh.
So 75 hard
Shots
sounds like a
fired.
degenerate movie.
Everything
so,
is a contest, and Gavin is winning by
Yeah.
a lot.
so can
Sorry,
we
and I stepped
explain-
all over you.
No, can we explain what the 75 hard is? That sounds like a degenerate movie, but like, I mean, is there?
Yes,
like
it is.
Yes.
It is. While we're on degenerate things, Rum Sodomy and the Lash, not my favorite Pose album. Just so we can circle back on that real quick.
Okay, fair
No.
enough.
Not terrible, but certainly not their best work.
Okay.
Didn't like the artwork
Now,
either.
the artwork was cool. Best album though? Best album by the Post. Like rapid fire.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to go and listen to them all. It's hard to remember what's on what album, but
Don't know.
Yeah, you're all wrong. Grace of God was the best album. If I should fall from Grace with God, the
See, the-
88
the
release.
problem is I normally listen to that stuff when I'm drunk, and it's been a while.
I only
Yeah,
know
well,
the words
anyone who
when I'm
picks a
drunk.
different Pose album can fight me over it. That was the best album they came out with.
Is that one with beer on it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember that being on it.
Yeah, 75 hard.
75 hard. Okay, so listener feedback. No one has submitted listener feedback, except we did it through Gilded. And I've inquired to our listening audience, or at least the listeners that participate in Gilded, which I suppose they don't even need to be listeners to participate in Gilded. I put the call out to ask people about their New Year's resolutions, because that is the traditional thing to do at this time of the year, because we have our non-denominational Christian secular holiday calendar tells us that it's the beginning of the year because we picked an arbitrary date that works for most people.
Except
You
for the
sound
Greeks
bitter.
and the Chinese.
I'm a little bitter.
Yeah.
The New Year started like a week ago, but that's fine. Unless you're Orthodox, and then New Year starts in a week.
Yeah.
Either of those I'm on board with.
Or Chinese, and it starts when
I can't keep
Like
track
in a couple
that.
of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're Jewish, it's a whole other calendar.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the days getting longer, so I'm with Andrew on that one. Week ago.
Yeah.
I prefer the solar calendar. It's far better.
Yeah.
I like to keep a rather complicated existence simple by just going with the Gregorian calendar.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like of all the compromise calendars, this is the calendar that is easiest to compromise on. But that doesn't make it any more right than any of the other oddball calendars.
Better than being left.
So we put the call out for people. So I'll talk about the mine in a moment, but I think we ought to read through perhaps the list of people. We've been submitted to listener feedback. People are going to work on things over the next year. And then I think we ought to talk about what the panel plans to work on, especially Liz, since she did all of that work to review her year and then plan her new year.
I'm working on it.
The current year.
Correct.
Well, you can discuss the parts that are publicly,
Acceptable
facing.
to discuss.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes, the parts that are discussable.
Fair.
As much as little as you would like, but I will start with Chris's. Because I got my fingers crossed for Chris, because Chris is becoming a very dear friend, and this year was interesting. My goal is to still be alive to celebrate another new year. Birthdays of everyone in the family along the way. The ticker is not doing very well. May need to go under the knife for bypass surgery or more stents if possible. Carpe diem, my friends.
Hmm.
Well, I look forward to celebrating many events with you in the future.
I expect to be bullied in person frequently by Chris.
Yes, and his excellent custom-made T-shirts.
Yes, if Pierre's business goes under, we know who we're giving the work to in the future.
Yes. Give that man a Sharpie and a white shirt, and he can make anything happen.
True.
Somebody else want to go down the list? We'll just rotate around.
Yeah, I got this one here. This one is from Howling Coyote. I'm looking at more rucking, more sandbag work, hitting 6 plates total. For squats, getting another stripe on my blue belt, and just being more deliberate and mindful of quality time with family. Oh, and I really want to figure out how we can get a wood stove insert for our fireplace and get a good wood supply.
Is Howling Coyote local?
Nope, he's in BC.
Okay. Then I
But,
can't help.
I can probably help him with that. But anyway, hopefully he'll give us a shout. And yeah, wood stove
Yeah.
inserts are a thing here too. I have one here from other Andrew. It says, secure a good foothold of a future for my kids. Rid myself of the last of my degeneracy. Kind of curious as to what was left. Continue to slowly rid myself of big tech. Continue to get more fit. Improve my fighting position by a significant amount. Actually reload my own damn ammo. Shoot said ammo. Brew more alcohol. Do more hard things with my friends, and maybe move homes.
But I thought he was getting rid of all of the degeneracy, and here he wants to go and brew alcohol.
Well, judging by articles to come, I'd say it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sounds like he
Valuable
might
skill.
have a good financial opportunity.
Some foreshadowing
in the
again
future.
there.
Yeah. Got one from Ian from NH. Shooting to 500 yards, get his ham license, have my wife finally carry a firearm, which of course we can't have that here. So thanks for rubbing that in. Turn my guarding up to level 11 by nods. Keep rucking and be the post-apocalyptic warlord I was always meant to be.
So I'm curious about this because of the way that he spelled that. Did he memed to be, or was it just a typo?
I think
Either
it's
way.
typo.
That's
Which
too
goes
bad.
back to brewing
I
alcohol.
was really hoping he was going to be memed into being an apocalyptic warlord.
Meme magic makes it real.
Who runs New Hampshire? Ian runs New Hampshire.
Goodness.
It's like a big cool barter town.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the thank you. That was the reference. Yes.
Okay, I don't know. We got one here from Darius Skater. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I have 2 goals this year. Accurately shoot out to the 1,000 yards with a 308 consistently and get in better physical shape. I mean,
Walking out
he's
to 100 yards to check your target will get you in shape. Just throw a ruck on.
1,000
You're at the range for
yards.
the day.
He wants
Yeah,
to
1,000, yeah.
shoot 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll definitely get in shape.
I think it's interesting though that he's like the resolutions versus goals, which I think is
Semantics.
I was having a chat with somebody about this actually. Just about the difference between motivation and discipline and the idea of
Motivation is bullshit.
well, motivation is inspiration, discipline is the actions that form the habit that kind of get you through the shitty parts. So
So I prefer
It's-
deadlines to resolutions.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, right. It is nomenclature, like it's just words. But at the same time, it does kind of matter, you know,
Yeah.
because it sets an intention of, oh, what's your plan?
Well,
know,
language
I've-
is important.
Yeah. I mean, I think when people used to say resolutions, it was like, I resolved to do this. Whereas now people don't use that kind of language. So it's just like, hey, this is, you know, my pipe
goals.
dream. This is what I want. But, you know, instead of I resolve to work out every morning at 4 a.m., it's,
Ugh.
I want to look fit. Right?
Yeah.
So it's different.
Look good, feel good, overthrow the government good in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. There's more. Next.
Well, Mr. H says goals for 2023 would be to focus on what's important, to be more efficient and productive in my working hours. When I'm not working, I'd like to be decluttering our home, shooting and hunting, and gathering for dinners with friends and their families more often. Would like to end the year a little leaner, at the same weight, which requires real discipline across all areas of life. Taking my sleep more seriously will be key.
Oh, the sleep one. The sleep one
Yeah.
is near and dear to me. Do you want to talk about your sleep one first, Gavin?
I mean, I think Andrew and I more or less suffer from the same problem in that we just don't sleep very well.
So awesome. We can't get any rest.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I started taking some advice from the Liver King. I mean, the guy is so jacked. How could he be wrong? Even though he's finally admitted to doing steroids.
I was gonna say, I was like, everybody knows he does steroids.
Yeah, but at least he's honest about it now.
Okay.
But like the whole
That makes
sleep
some-
thing is like his, number one tenet of the ancestral tenets, and like I tend to agree with him on that one because like sleep is definitely one of those things that like you need it. You can't just like not get it. Eventually your body will catch up on it. So like if you run on little sleep, you will eventually have to catch up, and it'll be when it's not convenient for you. So I
Well, they
started
even-
doing the whole blue light blocking thing, and anecdotally at the very least, because I know there's some science that debates it one way or the other, I have found a drastic improvement in my sleep by doing it.
Well, they actually say that you never truly catch up on your sleep. That is one of those things that, it's kind of an illusion when you end up sleeping, 10 hours after only getting 4. It's
Yeah.
an illusion, like you never regenerate or catch up. So somebody's breaking up. Didn't catch any of that.
Try again, Ian.
Ian and his friggin' internet.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. I found those the blue light blocking glasses. I put them on, a couple hours before bed, and it helps get my circadian rhythm back on track.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
because you have 2 wolves fighting inside of you, and one of them is waking you up, and one of them is trying to put you to sleep, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Feed the
It's
good
actually-
wolf. Feed the good wolf. Sorry. The Cherokee
fine.
legend. I've got a
Yes,
sign
the
on
Cherokee
wall.
legend. There are also
Yeah.
there are 2 other wolves. One is OPSEC and PERSEC, and the other one is shitposting directly on government websites.
Yeah.
But in this particular Wolf's case, I think the fellow to look into. Not that I don't have anything for the discredited Liver King, but Andrew Huberman. Partly because he has a really good name. So like, there's that. He sounds credible.
Yeah. Is that how that works? Okay.
I think that it might be a small amount of observation bias.
Yeah.
Small observation bias.
Okay.
But Andrew Huberman and the something labs. I forget the name of his podcast now.
I don't know, but I've heard him on other podcasts, and he's
done a lot of
insanely brilliant.
Yes, he's done a lot of very good podcasts. I like the 5 Hour Jocko podcast. I think he was also on Joe Rogan, and I've heard him on a couple of things. He also talks about your
caffeine and like when to consume your caffeine,
when and how much, and the light therapy thing, and obtaining vitamin D in a natural way from sunlight exposure directly onto your skin. And when and how much, and this is the oscillating parts of the brain with the circadian rhythm, one of them trying to wake you up and one of them trying to get you to go sleep, because it has to do with like when you get your cortisol dump. So trying to get that to happen in the morning when you want to wake up instead of in the afternoon when you don't. Really fascinating stuff. But I think the blue locking light glasses, I'm on board with Gavin with those. The blue locking light glasses in the evening to help simulate a sunset.
Yeah. I mean, with our modern lives and conveniences and stuff like that, it's hard to do that. I mean, especially when you've got so many things on the go and you need to be awake. Yeah. And sort of shift your day from when the sun first comes up to a little bit later.
Right up until the point where you don't need to be awake, and that the transition period is challenging.
I mean,
Ian, you're breaking up again.
Oh, poor Major Tom.
There's Ian.
Well, I mean, there's some crazy nuts on the internet that are. I mean, the getting the sunlight directly on your skin is a great way to do all that, and it's important for you. But there's some of them that go so far as to put the sun where the sun don't normally shine and absorb all the sunlight through their butts. And it's super weird.
The listener, Jason, is talking about sun on your balls. I learned that on YouTube.
Yeah.
And maybe it works, but you know what? I'm just going to go with the regular go outside for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Last thing I need is a sunburn while I'm trying to wipe in the morning.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Going a little bit too far. No.
I mean, some people like to just, be naked.
All in. Yep, that's fine. Good for them.
Good for them too.
I would be lying if I have said I have never been to a nude beach, but I don't sit there with my butthole pointed at the sun, because that's just weird.
Fair.
Okay, as long as we know where the line is on that, that's good. That's where it becomes weird. Yes, the sleep thing I think is a big. I think the sleep thing is a big deal, and I think this is one of my many complaints about modernism, and I'm going to try not to channel my my inner Professor Theodore in this case, but there's a lot of technological conveniences that have reduced the quality of our lives while purporting to do the exact opposite.
I mean, there's a lot of studies out there that do support that. So
the attention thief, the little pocket spy, does want you to focus on it, and it does, I think, for a variety of reasons, make it difficult to go to sleep. The bright blue light is a part of that, but also like the dopamine rush from the 30-second video clip of somebody doing something funny.
Yeah.
You like the dopamine, so you do that, but that makes it hard to go to sleep.
Well, they actually say that it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what it's called, but just when you kind of overuse something, because we're now at an attention span of like those 30 seconds to 7 seconds of dopamine hits, and it's continual. Actual dopamine is not being produced in regular, standardized ways, if that makes sense. I don't know how to say that, but bourbon's hitting me heavy.
Dopamine has been reprogrammed to be such a small little thing that the actual dopamine.
Well, it's like an addiction, right?
Yeah,
it is like an addiction. because there is,
Yeah.
I think to a certain degree, there is some neurochemistry stuff going on where you are trying to simulate that little chemical
hit.
response, getting high
Yeah.
effectively.
Mhm.
And the light part of it is part of the problem, I think. Not just that it's blue light, but just that it's a bright light at bedtime.
Yeah.
Because that's not,
Yeah,
you don't look at bright lights and then go to sleep. That's not how you normally work.
you shouldn't.
Some people may be exceptions in shift work and so on and other things, but like as a general rule, like the sun goes up, you wake up, you go about your business. The sun goes down, you go to sleep. That's
Mhm.
how
Give or
it
take, yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, am I back on the internet now?
There he is.
Okay, well, I was going to say jet lag is a prime example of that. Like in the old days, when you're going on your Viking longship, you're able to adjust the time zone changes fairly
That's true.
accurately. Now you
God, I
go
wish I
blast.
had a Viking longship.
I
Yeah.
tell you, and then you go
Oh,
blasting
yeah.
across the world. Now you're 12 time zones out of sync. You can see how it affect the body so much, right? Like that's a modern technology problem. Same idea with people who do shift work and everything else. And I think sleep has become not just difficult with a lot of jobs, but also becomes a bit of a mental game. So then you start getting mad at yourself for not sleeping. And so it becomes like, almost like a golf game. The madder you get, the worse you get, type of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, I've gone through a glorious burnout with sleep deficits too, but now it's like, I think I'm over most of that. I very little intervention too, just some natural supplements, and that was it.
Yeah, I think
That's awesome.
supplements, the right kind of supplements, the right amounts at the right time, and go and find a healthcare professional to talk to about that because you're different. But I got a whole pile of stuff that I take. I was just taking my pills before we started the show because I've got a whole pile of things that I need to take.
I'm with you too. I think a lot of people now that are kind of trying to figure out their health in any kind of way is doing is figuring out supplements.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that like
Well,
it depends
discipline.
on what you eat and where you live and what you do and what you're lacking. And I think there needs to be some science to happen to get those things figured out. But I think that part of the other part of this is like there's some trial and error going on. So like the blue light blocking glasses, whether they actually make a difference or whether that's just a placebo for Gavin and I,
Who
we
cares?
believe it makes a difference.
Yeah. For the $20 it cost me, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that seems to help.
Yeah. But even if that's just it's placebo because it's the mental attitude like of putting those on, which is getting me ready for the sleep process. Right. Because like they go on and then like I have them on for a while and then I like leave them on and dim the lights a little so that I'm just like slowly phasing into sleep mode. Whether that actually does it or it's just the ritual of now going to bed is there. It doesn't matter because it works for me.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes that ritual is, as good.
Yeah.
Well, this again, if I'm gonna like shit all over modernism, which
Why
after
not?
the government is one of my favorite things.
I think we need to do a podcast that's just on that we just call shit on the modern world. That's all we do.
Well, but the lack of ritual, I think, is a very good word for it.
Yeah. It is true. That and I find it more now that I'm self-employed. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Ritualism gives structure, which really helps a lot of people out. And that's one thing that, even being at home over COVID, I think a lot of people noticed that whole lack of structure, that lack of, go into work, do your thing. As much as everybody loves having the freedom to do whatever, it's not always the most productive or beneficial. So
Not without at least having a plan step forward and discipline on making sure everything actually happens.
yeah,
It's very easy to, say I'm going to do this because I've allotted an extra hour every day to, something, whether it's because you become more efficient at work or your commute has gotten a lot smaller, but then you realize that without, telling yourself, hey, I need to do this and everything, it's very easy to get sidetracked with anything to prevent that from happening.
And I think that's one of those things with the pocket spy attention thief trying to get you to watch the 7-second videos for an hour rather than sit down and read a book. I hadn't read for like 2 weeks. I just started reading again yesterday, and I was having a real struggle with like focusing on what I was reading and not trying to like because I kept wanting to like pick the phone up and look at stuff, and it's like, no, I'm supposed to be reading.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
one of my big things is if there's any noise around, I can't, like, I can read, like I'll read a book, but like I don't remember the sentence I just read if someone's having a conversation next to me. So trying to find the time to get away from noise, which happened, excuse me, the other day, because for some reason on my day off, woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We had all gotten to bed late. So, I mean, I got 2.5 hours of reading in because there was nobody up. Let the dogs
Nice.
out, had a pot of coffee, read like 4 or 5 chapters out of a book. I'm like, it was nice. But then
Mhm.
the daughter got up and, she's making noise, making her breakfast, and then wants to chat, how was your sleep, and that. And I was like, just put the book away. Like if there's any noise around, I can't do it. So I want to try and get something to,
I find
not impede in the rest of the family or
Yeah.
anybody doing anything, and me being able to do my thing for that. So that's one thing I want to try and work on.
I find that using like either range muffs or just regular utility like gardening ones. Growing up as a kid, my mom actually, because we were all homeschooled, my mom had a pair for each of us, and while we were doing our schoolwork, we just had ear protection on.
Yeah.
The focus is epic.
Yeah.
It's really good that way. But anywho,
It
do we have
is.
more reading?
I think we
More
have
feedback?
one
Yeah,
more
Yeah.
from CanPat777. Goals for 2023. I just moved, so I have a lot of work to do to turn the house into a compound. Amateur radio license. Spend more time outdoors with the children. Improve my skill level with my firearms. Buy more Bitcoin.
Well, don't buy
I'm-
FTX.
Well,
I was
not a financial advice podcast, but if you were looking to buy Bitcoin, this is a time where it's affordable. I don't know if that makes it a good investment,
I
but
was
the
gonna
price
say,
is low right now.
I was gonna say, so I don't know. Sorry. Oh, I don't know much about Bitcoin, but what makes Bitcoin any more valuable than, paper
Dogecoin.
money?
Yeah.
No, but like just any kind.
Well, because
Well-
the nerds say that it is. That's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but to
it's
me,
still a fiat.
I'm
It's
just-
just a digital fiat currency. It's only
Yeah.
worth money because people think it is.
But it's all fiat currency. That's the point.
yeah.
well, at least
like-
it's
so-
honest about being one.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I
that's
want to
fair.
trade my leaves that I collected from my tree for the leaves that you collected from your tree, because we've agreed that leaves are the standard of currency.
And unfortunately, like
and that's all.
yeah,
it
whether
is.
it be Dutch tulips or anything else, like I mean, yeah, it's there comes a time where either it becomes worth nothing or
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
it always ends
I-
that way. Let's just put it that way.
I just never got into it because it just is one of
I don't
those
understand it.
additional
It's-
things.
Got a
To
very
figure out.
steep learning curve.
That's what I mean.
I will give you that. But I mean, it's not really any different than any other speculative investment. You
Mm.
are trading your money for a theoretical
Something.
asset that is not tangible. You can't eat it. You can't do anything with it. I mean, I suppose with a regular stock, you at least in theory, you could actually have the piece of paper that says you have the stock.
Yeah, but that's still
That's
fiat.
still not-
like it's
Well,
irrelevant.
that's my thing,
It's
is it's-
irrelevant.
I don't look at it as being any different than any other
I have
non-hard asset.
The only benefit it truly has is being able to cross borders effortlessly without
Yeah,
a currency
that's fair.
limit. And-
I would say it has a few more advantages than that. The blockchain technology stuff is interesting, and the fact that you can do with enough work, difficult to impossible to trace transactions. There is some security in that if you wanted to trade your currency with someone else without involving a central bank or other regulatory authority, although a lot of governments and financial institutions are really trying to crack down on digital currencies for that.
Yeah, it just seems like it's better to I don't know, develop skills that can be used for survival or trade. But I think that's simplistic, but that's where my mind goes when I think of fiat currency. Is I actually think of just,
I like tangibles.
yeah. Well,
So do I, but I'm also going to buy some more Bitcoin because it's the lowest it's been now in like 2 years, something like that. I think the last time that it was this low was in like early 2021, the end of 2020 20. Like,
That's fair. If that's something that you're
if-
into and
I mean,
understand.
I would assume that you probably have a lot more knowledge on how that is compared to me because I hate technology and I'm not tech
Mm.
savvy. So I don't
I mean,
understand
that's
it,
fair.
so I
It's a
have no
whole
idea.
other like type
Yeah.
of investing that you have to be interested in
Yeah. So
doing. And
if you understand how that works and you
no,
want to go for
but
it, like I would have. No
I don't
interest in
understand
it
how the stock
because-
market works either, but I buy
Yeah.
stocks and sell them because I'm going into the casino with $20
Yeah.
and having my
Yeah.
free beer or my bottle of water in this evening's case.
Yeah.
And I'm playing the casino because that's kind of how I look at the market, because the money is not real. You know what's real?
Yeah.
The boxes of ammo in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I always looked at Bitcoin and the stock market and everything. Like, if you want to invest whatever amount of dollars, I'm like, as long as you're willing to kiss that money goodbye
Yeah.
and never see it again, I'm like, go for it. If you want to figure out how to invest and you want to gamble, whether it be $20, $100, or $2,000, I'm like, like me and Mel have discussed it. It's like, we're at a point where I'm like, we can spare a little bit of money, a few $100 here and there. I'm like, and we want to try it out. I was like, cool, either talk to someone who knows it, or I was like, and we can, learn. But I'm like, we have to be willing to like kiss that money goodbye. We're never going to see it. It could come back to us, 80 times fold, or we could never see it again. I'm like, that's how I understand Bitcoin and the
and
stock market. You do it with
Everybody's
money
got
you're willing to
different
lose.
risk
Yeah.
tolerances with that.
Yep.
And there are historic trends, and you can sort of see with stock or bond or index funds or digital
Yeah.
currencies, there are trends, and there are people that are good at predicting it, and there are people that have made a lot of money. But also, we've had a couple of pretty nasty recessions where a lot of people have lost all of their theoretical wealth because it just doesn't exist. So I don't know if you're gonna look at buying Bitcoin. I'd say if you want to get into Bitcoin now, it's a reasonably inexpensive compared to how it was over COVID because of the crash of some of the Bitcoin market, because some people were doing some things that were kind of sketchy and then not fulfilling their obligations to their customers.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it turns out you
Everybody's got
can't
that
use
thing.
your Bitcoin exchange as your own private bank account. That's turns
What?
out that's bad for business.
So your work can't directly deposit it into Bitcoin for you?
Your work might not be able to. I think mine would if I asked nice. I don't think I would want that, but
No, but
Yeah. The grocery store doesn't quite take Bitcoin these days.
yet.
it's not a widespread thing. There are definitely retailers that take it, but it's like an extra level of hassle you have to be prepared to deal with. But
Mm-hmm.
depends on what you want to do with it, and it depends on what your long-term strategy is. So I don't know if you're going to do it. I'm not saying this is the time to, give all your money into Bitcoin, but if you're going to look at Bitcoin, I do it
think-
now versus a year ago. This would be a better time.
I think ultimately the only financial advice that could be really sat upon, just because we're not financial people really, but
Not
is
even a
the
little
whole-
bit.
is the whole idea of like investing, gambling, buying stocks, Bitcoin, whatever. You just can't be doing that with this week's grocery money. Like, it has to be money that you're willing to say goodbye to.
Yeah,
That
well,
would
and
be-
I expect a lot of our listeners are probably already in that boat because of
Yeah.
the overlap with the prepper and preparedness community and the like self-reliance
100%.
mindset.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that people are like, do I buy groceries for my children or do I buy Bitcoin?
What's
I imagine
wild
most
though?
people have
Clearly,
already
the
done that.
answer is Bitcoin. Yeah.
Obviously, the answer is
It's at a
Bitcoin.
low.
Yeah,
It's at
but
a
you
low, buddy.
you
Buy the
obviously
dip.
yeah. You joke, but like there was a period in high school where I worked at a variety store, and honestly, that was the thing. People would come in and buy lottery tickets over, like all the while bitching about, not being able to buy things for their kids. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I know that that's not the audience here, but it's just alarming,
It is, and it's not a financial advice thing, but this is you need to have some of those living expenses sorted out, and you
Yeah.
need to have some of those long-term plans, and you should take advantage of the things that you should take advantage of, like if you're going to have children, if you have children and you don't have an RESP, I have to ask why you're not taking advantage of the quote unquote free money from the government, because they do the match on it. If your employer offers a pension plan and it has an employer match, I have questions about like why you're not taking advantage of that.
I can tell
Yeah.
you that the percentage of people that don't take advantage of that is about
very high.
75% plus.
Get out of here.
75% is likely optimistic. Yes.
No, that's insane.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
we just changed
Ian.
our pension plan at
It's
work,
crazy.
and they changed our maximum contribution amount by a half percentage.
Oh, okay.
And I had my paperwork in before the change was able to actually come into effect. Because like the day they announced it, I filled out the form to say I want to like give me another 0.5% of free money.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
But
that's I gotta figure that out because that confuses me more than Bitcoin. But yeah, my work does the same thing. So I have money in there that I haven't
Yeah.
contributed to. But that's the next part of me trying to figure out is how to get my money in there so they can contribute more. And
they take it right
all
off your
confusing.
paycheck.
yeah,
They take it right
your
off
new
your paycheck.
Which
Yeah.
has some other added tax benefits.
Yeah,
from
tax
talking
benefits.
to my
see?
well,
Those
so like
confusing as
contributing to your
Bitcoin.
RSPs and everything is
Yeah.
good for you because you get some tax benefits there, but doing it at that
Paycheck
point,
level?
like from when it goes straight out versus like you getting paid and then you just do it on your own, there's even some things going on there that help you on the tax end. So
Yeah, it does. Like your year-end taxes, if you
Yeah.
contribute personally, your year-end taxes get, impacted by
Yeah.
that like really well. Like I've had my accountant recommend just go and drop $1,000 into this, RRSP, and it's going to kick your it's going to kick your tax bill, right? Get
Yeah.
rid of your tax bill.
it
And I'm
really
like,
is something
yeah.
that like if you can afford to put even a few dollars towards it, it's better than not. Like it's just do it.
Well, and
Yeah.
financial literacy is hard. And I'm glad
Yeah.
that Liz brought that up, because like there are people whose whole career is based around figuring all this stuff out. So
Yeah.
go find one of those and pay them
Yeah.
a nominal fee to make
It's-
better decisions on your behalf.
That's really good advice, Andrew. And especially because, we all know that tax season is coming up in the next few months. A lot of people undervalue having an accountant.
Well,
It
and this is
doesn't, they go to like H&R Block, and
But that's not
that's
Yeah.
not, that's somebody that knows how to click the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Right?
click the box. I prefer to go to
Yeah.
somebody that knows me and is willing to like invest some time to know my family and my situation and
Absolutely. And they
go
give
through
you
that
advice.
process.
Like I've
Yeah.
had some really, really good and heavily impactful financial advice from just having an accountant that, like you spend a few $100s a year and
Yep.
you have like financial impacts that extend beyond that.
Well, and
Like-
this is one of those professional services things. Like there are things I'm willing to do around my house or with my vehicle that like I'm competent to do that. I can change the spark plugs in my lawnmower. I'm not sure I want to change, I don't know, the timing belt in the truck engine, right? Like could I? Maybe. Should I?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Mhm.
Right.
But
And
you
it's the
are
same
not
thing, like,
drinking for the next 75 days.
I am.
So
well,
if you,
maybe I'll
if
be
you were
sober
ever going to
before.
do it, much like buying
Yeah.
Bitcoin, now
Right,
is the
but
time.
that's what I mean.
Be
Like this
day
is one of those things.
74,
Like,
you're gonna feel like you want
I
to change
recognize
the
that some of
timing
these
belt.
things are beyond my skills or knowledge or
absolutely.
capacity,
Mhm.
and there are things that are worth having a professional take on
Yeah.
doing, or maybe not even a
100%.
professional. Maybe it's just worth it to you to have somebody
Sure.
else deal with things,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I think
At
that
least
that's
someone
also
with way more knowledge.
well, and I
right,
think that
the
that's also
understanding
the
of them.
capacity of like networking and community building. It's pretty interesting when you can start gathering around you people that have these skills. A friend of mine said that she would always like to my dad has a habit of saying like, "Oh, I've got a guy," because you ask him about something and he's got a guy for everything. And that network is extremely valuable to be
Oh,
able to say
absolutely.
like, "Oh, hey, go and talk to this person. Oh, hey, go and talk to this person," right?
well,
That
it's
sort of
too
thing.
broad to know how to do everything yourself.
And
You
well,
can learn lots of things about lots of things, but it's
Sure.
hard to get really good at a specific thing.
Yeah.
Right. I forget. It's like 10,000 out of hours of practice at something makes you an
10,000
expert.
hours.
Yeah.
10,000 hours.
right? So
apparently.
like how much expertise can you really get on more
And
than one
again,
thing, right?
To go back to that like digital, inundation too. We live in a world where that 10,000 hours, you're learning probably 5 different skills just from media consumption, so that
Yeah.
that reduces the ability to actually excel at one certain thing. Like nobody technically is good at multitasking. You can
No.
fake it a bit, but you're not really good at
But
it.
you're not really good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
This
an
has been a weird
interesting
tangent
thing.
on Bitcoin that I've
I
enjoyed.
know. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
no,
I've
but-
learned something. Here you go. Check on the skill.
All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with, was it your father or grandfather? You said that's like, I got a guy. Like,
Oh,
I'm
my
big
dad.
on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, your dad. Okay, I'm big on
Mhm.
that. Like, if I go
Yeah.
to go do something and I start talking to someone, like we went and looked at a truck, and how I dress and look, and I walk into a place, looking for a new car. I'm not like the first person. They're like, hey, come on in. Why? Because it doesn't look like, I don't know, I just don't look as presentable as someone that walks into a suit where they're like, okay, they got money. So this person came out and said, what are you looking for? I was like, I'm looking for a quote for a truck. Me and him sat down. I went back in because I was like, hey, we're going to redesign the truck and this and that. And the guy was busy. Oh, well, I can help you. I was like, no, you were here last time and you didn't give me the time of day. I'm like, I like doing interactions with one person. If you treat me right, you treat me respectful.
Yeah,
until
that's your
you
guy.
cross me. Yeah, like that's my guy. You want to get a car? This is the guy that helped me and he was good. I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah, until you cross me or something goes completely sideways or whatever.
Note
like,
to self.
I have one guy for one thing.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And I mean, some people now are just like, they don't care. They're like, I want that instant answer, this, that. Like I walked in, I want a price on this. That guy sat down with me for a half hour. I was like, I know he works on commission, because, my brother was a car salesman. I've worked at dealerships fixing cars. And I was like, I just understand it. That I'm like, that guy took time out of his day. He's either getting a small base salary and works on commission. I was like, well, now I want to redesign a whole new truck. I was like, the guy sat down with me for an hour when we did this, did that, we did whatever. I was like, that hour is unpaid if I go with another guy and he orders the truck. So I'm like, there's also understanding the mutual respect there. But that's a whole different side thing. But yeah, no, I've that there's a guy I've got until you screw me or do me wrong, and then I'll find another guy for any situation.
Well, that's more or less how that kind of thing should be. But like, I mean, car salesmen are the worst, and when you find a good one, stick with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
for sure.
Like we, as a bunch of us,
stand looking for new cars. It is like the most god awful experience ever. I hate it so much.
I'll drive 45 minutes to a dealership for my truck, and there's a dealership 10 minutes down the road. But there's like three generations of my family has been doing business with that dealership, and it's still owned by the same family. And we're like, no, we've been doing business with these guys. Same with like my tire guy. I'm like, no, we've been doing business with these guys for a long time.
Yeah, no, I need to find my guy, because I have yet to do so. I've reluctantly done business with several, but the worst one was the guy that I didn't go in, and this was back when like the whole auto industry took a shit. So like there were no leases. You all like the one,
like recently,
a decade
I'm
ago.
Still waiting on my
like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Different shit. Like all the leasing companies were like not touching anything with a 10-foot pole. So you could only like finance a car or just buy it outright. So it was a company car. So I go in and I'm like, just tell me what number you want me to write on the check. Like taxes in, everything. Like I don't want to screw around with this, that, or whatever. Like just what number am I writing on this? And I'm going to give you a check for the entire amount for the car and just walk away with it.
Yeah.
And so like he does that stupid thing where they write it down on the piece of paper and then slide it across the desk at me. So I'm already like, all right. So I pick it up and I look, and like, it was already more than, one of the other dealerships for the exact same car. So I'm like, put it down, and I get up and walk away. And he's like, well, but I could do better. I'm like, okay, bud, I told you to write down your best price. And now you're telling me that you can do better, which means you've already lied to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's always the best.
People are the worst.
Yeah.
Well, car salesmen tend to slot in somewhere between politicians and child molesters. I mean, they're down that lower rung
Yeah.
of society.
I'd like to think that on the scale of okay to shit, child molesters is on the top, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
worse
Or the
than
bottom, but
politicians.
the bottom, I
They're
would
very
think.
bad.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I mean. Like of
top,
the scale
top
of
the
shit,
good or top of the bad?
top of the
The
bad.
very worst.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Then
good.
The
yeah,
wood chipper doesn't
Self-checking
care if
that.
the wood chipper just
Coincidentally,
throws a wood chipper.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap between that and politicians.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't.
So they
where are
rank
we
somewhere around the
putting
same.
car salesmen in this. Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
car
fair
salesmen
enough.
are pretty terrible. Not all of them, but
No, not
like,
all of them. But
yeah.
that's the point, is that you kind
if
of
I
gotta
had to
find a guy.
generalize, yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
find a guy.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
On to the panel side of the equation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Since everyone definitely filled out the template and was prepared for this evening's recording.
Yeah. I even pre-recorded a show yesterday with the other CPP all about my resolutions.
Yes,
Same.
well,
Copy paste.
fine.
Yeah.
Was Pierre on
Control
last
V.
night too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was
Yeah.
just Liz and I?
Yeah.
All right. For the
Oh.
majority of the panel's New Year's resolution, I guess you'll have to go and listen to last night's episode of
Yeah.
Canadian Prepper podcast.
No, I'll make it easy for you. I don't make them. They're bullshit.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah,
that
was-
was pretty much the whole episode.
That was the episode title is New Year, New Me is bullshit. So yeah, I do not do resolutions, I do deadlines, and I actually finished off the year by making sure stuff was done before the new year started, not worried about what happens after January 1st per se.
Good. Yeah.
Few things just to get better, but it's not so much a New Year's resolution, just like because of that whole thing about, New Year's, you need a resolution, just small things I want to work on that I guess I shouldn't have to wait till New Year's, but New Year's is here and it's like, I want to try and improve on this, even though I've been working on it. So yeah, that's all we're
think-
going to do.
I think that New Year's is an interesting time. I obviously it's ridiculous. Like, what makes January 1st a good time to start anything?
Because it's convenient to lay the calendar out in this order,
Yes.
as we've already
Yeah.
discussed.
I know, but that's
the guys
exactly
that
it.
like to do the chanting have decided that this is the first of the year.
Is that
Yeah,
the same
absolutely.
Gregorians?
Yes,
I don't
it
know.
is.
I imagine it is.
Right.
Maybe
Well,
we're
actually,
gonna
there's
work on
Right,
that
'cause,
theory.
like,
well, okay.
What's the difference between
autism time?
the
Autism time.
Gregorian
There's actually-
calendar and the Julian calendar is to like make up for the leap year, so the difference is like a quarter of a. Isn't that
It's a
it?
I
quarter
don't
of
know.
a day.
Ian's about
Yeah,
to.
every
Ian's
fourth
about to
Oh,
give us
come on! I
tips
want to
on
nerd
that.
out for a second.
Yeah,
Julius
I'm
Caesar-
waiting,
All
Ian.
right.
I'm waiting.
Yeah,
Come on.
okay, so I believe Julius Caesar had something to do with the Julian calendar, but the Gregorian was actually not about the monks. It was Pope Gregory. It was he brought in the Gregorian calendar, and I think
the Gregorian monks, though,
But
are
he
from Pope Gregory.
He liked the monks, though, right?
well, that's another whole story.
And is the Julian one where you cut the vegetables on an angle?
No,
that-
I'm pretty sure
with the
that
funny
that's,
lines,
That's
too?
the guy that liked the rum and coke all the time, and he had it up, always holding it up, and
Boy.
never
My
mind.
goodness. My goodness. Either way, to go back on track to the whole
Yes.
calendar thing,
Yes,
I think the reason that January 1st is like a good starting point, and I will argue that, like, you don't have to call them resolutions, but starting goals at the beginning of the year is really good because metrics. It's really challenging
Metrics.
to gauge your progress if you don't have like a jump off point. And it's kind of like that motivation where it's easy to track and it's good for people's psyche to, like pick up a book. Most calendar books start January 1st, right? So like it's really good to like it's a really easy jump off point if you're into data collecting on your progress of your goals.
Sure.
If you're not into data
Yes.
collecting, you're not doing it right.
Yeah,
But,
but
I
that's the
mean,
whole
I
point
like
of why
the-
resolutions are shit, because most people fall off the wagon by the 14th
Yes.
of January.
Yes, which is why I think it's all garbage and everything else. And that, like,
Yeah.
I agree with the setting goals, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
could set a goal and set a deadline for the goal, but just going, well, it's the first of the year, so I'm going to do some arbitrary thing on this arbitrary day. Like, if the goal is so good, do it now. Like, do
Yeah.
it 2
Yeah,
weeks
why
ago
was it
when you
not
came
started?
up with the idea.
I think that some people though like require, I can tell you right now that myself, that sounds great, but there's certain things that really require a bit of an amp up period and planning. And
Okay, but yeah, the amp up period's fine, but it's just like the January 1st is the only time you can start these resolutions.
I don't
What we're
think
getting
that-
at is that's
yeah.
the stupid part.
That
Or,
is
like
the- but
something
that
you
is
need
the
to
stupid
get
part.
into.
but those are the
like-
same people that again fall off the wagon by the 14th.
Yeah. But this is
Right,
why
is
I
the
like
people that are tied to
daily,
that.
weekly, monthly goals.
Yes.
That you start whenever, like, yes, some things require planning and you can't just
Sure.
go, I thought of this thing I want to do and I'm going to do it now.
Why
But
not?
other
That is
things-
literally, I was having a drink, and that is literally how we came up with the podcast challenge.
But okay, so to argue that,
Yes,
and
but
I'm
other things do need some, you gotta
well,
put the ducks in the row in order to do the thing. But like start doing that is immediately like as soon as you can.
and
Not just like
yes.
waiting for the sake of waiting
Yes.
because there's this
Yeah.
arbitrary date.
Well, and
This is
that's
true.
I think different, but a lot of people I think can tend to also be in like a little bit of a creative zone where they, come up with all these good ideas and all these good, things that they want to do and then overload themselves. Right.
Yeah.
So it's really, and even Chris mentions this in the comments, like short to-do lists, realistic, measurable. And I mean, that's that whole like SMART goal system, and
Oh, come on, bust out the
It's a
HR book
launch
and explain
off.
to everybody what a SMART goal is.
Specific, measurable. I forget the A.
Achievable.
Oh, there you go. What's the R?
Oh, I know I hate all this.
Retractable.
No, and then
Repeatable?
no,
Is it
I forget what the
repeatable?
R is. No, somebody's looking it up.
I don't know,
And
I
then
hate
T is
all
the
that.
time part, right? Is it record? I don't remember.
I don't know. It's been so long since I've had to do
R,
any of that.
I'm
R?
I'm disappointed that I actually knew this one, and the HR whiz didn't.
Oh, okay.
SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely.
Realistic and
Ah.
And
timely.
the
Yeah.
reason that I can do that is because I rhyme them off to my team at work on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because make a plan
Yeah.
and then execute your plan.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem is that also like, and this does go to what you were saying, Gavin, where, this arbitrary date and you're like sitting and waiting. The problem is when people are sitting and waiting. The point is that, like Ian did, I'm assuming based on your statement, Ian, earlier, is that you were planning for 2023 ahead of time so that at the end of the year, you were not worried about January 1st, right?
Well, basically,
Pretty much.
rather than trying to introduce a
Yeah.
promise to myself to get something done, I said no, I have to get done before the new year because I'm not dragging my dirty laundry in with me to the new
Well,
year.
And
'Cause that's a bad way to look at it.
And that's a good method too. And, like the whole, I guess the whole method is that, while you're sitting and waiting for January 1st, you're actually doing preparing, you're planning.
Yeah.
You're
Right?
getting stuff done.
'Cause-
Off the
Yeah,
list.
because
Yeah.
your goals are kind of like, they're pretty big, but how you achieve those goals is very specific and very disciplined.
Small measurable steps.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
think is probably my complaint about this is people take on a lot, which is I think the reason for failure. Don't
Yeah.
set out to do all of the things, set out to do
Yeah.
a thing and then do a thing because you take time to build habits, which really I think most people, what they're trying to do with their New Year's resolutions is they're trying to build habits, but they're not.
You just don't know how.
Well, it's hard to make something habitual.
Mhm.
And it
What
is
is it,
difficult-
21 days?
21 days as a minimum for a common, simple task.
Exactly.
Things like, in my case, I'm bad for remembering to take my supplements. I'm supposed to
okay.
take my supplements in the evening, and I am horrible to remember. And there are periods where I might forget for like days or weeks at a time. And it's not because I'm like, I've forgotten. It's because I didn't like, oh yeah, at 9 o'clock, I should take my pills. And then I'll be
Right.
like, oh, I'm in bed and it's 11:30. Well, guess I'm not taking my pills today. And then that goes on for some
while.
amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I remember to brush my teeth every day. Why can't I remember to take my pills every day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One is just a simple habit, the same as the other one should be.
because it takes discipline.
It does.
And that's the difference
does.
between,
And,
I think that the
well-
reason people want to set goals or resolution is motivation, but
Motivation is unreliable. Don't
absolutely,
have
and
motivation. You should
that's
have
the difference.
discipline.
People mistake the two.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely, people
I'm gonna-
mistake the two.
I'm going to upset Professor Kaczynski, and the Pocket Spy does have one positive function. It's super easy to set alarms and reminders.
I do it
The
all the time.
downside of that is it is also super easy to turn those off and ignore them.
I will say that you were talking about vitamins and supplements. That's my downfall. One of my downfalls. So I have
No,
alarms.
specifically that one. That's just
We'll just go with that one. But yeah, so I have calendar reminders that, you know, like I have to mark it as done. Otherwise it keeps on popping up and being a little bit of a dick. And I'm
Yes.
like, that's a good reminder because makes you plan your day a little bit. Makes
a
you
little
think
bit of
about-
planning. And
Yeah.
again, credit to Chris. He mentions it in the YouTube. I'm a big fan of this one. Crossing the item off the list
Mhm.
and follow on to that is the connecting the X's on the calendar, like every
Yeah.
day when you get to mark, so don't break the chain kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
the series of connected crosses is like visually appealing to me. So I like to have my chain of X's
Yeah.
and go
Oh
through
yeah,
that.
and that's
Same with
yeah.
I haven't
Well,
missed any days.
the Pocket Spy also, I mean, if you're doing something like Strava and you're doing a ruck challenge, I mean, yes, it's a huge invasion of your personal or your PERSEC, I guess, but it is a little bit of group shaming or group
Yeah.
motivation or group
Oh yeah,
encouragement.
the accountability
Everybody gives
is
you
nice.
kudos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I am
kudos and
glad-
encouragement.
I am glad that we've arrived at the group shaming part, because this is why I am drinking water, and this is why I started on the day that I started on. Because
Yeah.
I have a support group of other dads who are also participating in 75 Hard, although we are not all starting on the same day. Some of them are doing it on their first day back to work. Some of them are doing it on
Okay.
other days. I happen to arbitrarily, because I don't believe in your foolish Christian Gregorian calendar, Sunday
then.
happened to be a convenient day for me to start that.
I'll tell you what, I'll join you then as well. It's a little late for tonight, but
That's fine. Tomorrow is a
Yeah.
new day, and you can
Tomorrow's a new
start
day.
again.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Are we
shall
all going to
I-
be sober next Monday?
God, I hope
Fuck-
not.
fuck
I
no.
need to live
Fuck
vicariously
no.
through someone.
All right. Fuck it.
I'll
I've been
take-
toying
I'll
with
do
the
it.
idea as well. I may as well give it a go. I didn't want
You're
to be
already
the
on
only
the
one.
water
Well,
train. No,
Gavin
you know
is
what?
already on the.
It's
So
just the 2 45-minute workouts a day thing.
that's
So-
the part that I was reading. and I
and
was
one of
like,
them
"Oh,
has to be
have fun."
outside.
Yeah,
well, there you
Yes,
go.
so-
You can look at my last one. There you go.
there you go.
So
So
Ian was asking earlier what the 75 Hard is. We should
Oh,
probably
yeah.
explain that, I guess, if I'm doing it, if other people are going to do it. And I'm not proposing that people do this. It seems very silly. I know a lot of
I'm
people
gonna
that
say
have
hell
failed it.
no on my end. So go ahead.
That's fine. I don't know if I'm going to make it through, but like, hey,
I didn't finish
I
the
mean,
ruck challenge, so
I guess shame me publicly on the podcast if I don't. I don't know if that's going to provide me with motivation or not. I kind of
You
doubt it. 'cause,
tried it
like,
way more than I tried.
contempt.
Yeah.
So much contempt. But yeah, 75
Code word
Hard.
for
And
anger and
Andy
resentment.
Frizella. And again, like, maybe this is just like another one of those like observational biases, because he's got a good first name, even though he goes by Andy. Not really a fan of Andy myself, but so
you
he
don't look
goes
like
by.
an Andy.
I don't look like an Andy, but Andy Frizella is the CEO of First Form. He's an entrepreneur. He's got a bunch of different businesses. First Form is a fitness supplement exercise influencer company. They make a bunch of stuff and are very involved in the fitness space, particularly like CrossFit. He's got some books. He does a podcast. He's a very high energy individual, but he's got this challenge that they came up with, and he's done podcasts, and you can go on the website and look at it, and it's on their thing. But the short version is there's a couple of requirements. Sounds remarkable, like another thing that we've
Yeah.
done. 2 45-minute workouts, one of which must be outside. You have to follow a diet. You can't consume alcohol. You can't have cheat meals. You have to drink a gallon of water every day. Read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. Audiobooks are not good enough, Gavin. Sorry. And take a progress photo. Which
Interesting.
really not all that much, and very
No.
strong overlap with another podcast challenge that we know of.
Yeah.
Is there a
Doing
link
most
to
of
that
those
you can
things.
throw in the YouTube chat or something?
Yes, I will put a link in the show notes. How about that?
Perfect.
That'll be good. I'll put a link in the show notes for all of our listeners. So yeah, Andy Frisella, first form, 75 hard. It's a thing. There's other versions of it. They've made harder versions. They've also done a bunch of versions that I don't. Other people have like adapted it to their thing, and they've made like the 75 not so hard challenge, 75 soft challenge, 75 10 ply challenge. So I'm going to give people grief about those because that's not the rules. Follow the rules. I'm a rule follower.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already doing most of these things anyways.
Really?
Well, I mean, the drinking and all the things. It's the exercise one.
The exercise
one.
one.
You find that
Well,
that's going to be the tough part?
I imagine Gavin already does the daily selfie, so that's probably not going to be a stretch.
I mean, that's easy to do. Right?
It's all easy to do.
Yes, but of the things, it's like that takes not even 10 seconds to do, and like, but it's the going and doing the 2 45-minute workouts, because that's where I know that I struggle, is doing that.
Me too, which is why I'm like, you know what, if the other dads in the dad support group are gonna do it, I'm gonna do it too. One of the guys is like really seriously talking about getting into bodybuilding this year, and I am not about that.
Oh, that's fair.
But I'm like, you know what, if you're gonna do this, like,
though too, right?
Well, so this is the thing. It says workout. It's not prescriptive. It doesn't say you have to do CrossFit.
Yeah.
I'll be doing farm fit as often as I can then, which usually involves hail bales or lumberjacking or something.
There you go. That's sometimes like just as tough.
Yeah, real work is better than simulated real work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just started to like get more into just like being active, and I found that like lifting weights has been helpful because I hate cardio. So
yes,
I also hate cardio.
I'm not a fan.
That's where it doesn't matter what the exercise is. It's just 45 minutes of it twice a day.
Twice a day.
It doesn't have to be one of them 45 minutes of running, because then it's a whole different ballgame.
But the dog the dog is tired out so far, so we'll see if the dog makes it through.
Oh, there you go.
The dog
offer to walk the neighbor's dog the next time.
Well, we'll
then
see.
You got to talk to your neighbor.
Come to St. Mary's and take my dog for a walk. She would love it.
We'll have to figure out if the drive time counts towards my exercise activity.
Probably not.
Probably not. I do have a couple of other specific time-bound measurable goals.
There you go.
But they're not because of the new year. They're just because of the weird Christian calendar that we use.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there are some things coming up that I'm excited for.
Okay.
The Razul 4-day military march for the Finnish Reserve Sport Association has not been announced yet, but if tradition holds, it'll be the last week in March.
That wasn't.
And
did they do a second one every year? Because wasn't Razul was like September? Was it in March?
It was in March.
Yeah.
First one was in July, then it was in March. So far, the two that I've been, I guess, involved with.
I think the one you're thinking of was the New Shore, Canada.
No, I did not do that one.
Or
there's
was it just everybody got together?
And then there's
I'm
Razul.
excited for the Razul and the Veristaleka marches because they're probably both early-ish in the year, March and April, if tradition holds. We'll find out when they announce official dates and everything, but like if Nijmegen happens and Razul doesn't, because the year it was in July was because that's when the Nijmegen military marches are in Holland. It had been moved because of COVID, so they had put it to March.
That was just last year, right?
Yes, that was last year.
Okay, so I'm not going crazy. I was like, no, I participated in one, and it was 100% in the summer.
Yes. 2 years ago, it was in July because that's when Nijmegen is. I'm not likely to go to Holland to go to Nijmegen, although that would be super cool. I don't wear a funny green outfit, so I'm not getting paid to travel to Europe.
To walk.
If somebody wants to pay me to travel to Europe to walk around with a backpack, I would be more than happy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
But Razul and Verstleka marches. I'm going to try and work on my 5K time. I think
Mm.
I'm going to be 35 this year. I'm going to try and crack a 30-minute 5K.
All right.
I
We're
like
going to see if
that.
I can do it. Running is not my strong suit, so I really,
Yeah.
if I can get under a 30-minute 5K time, I would be very happy with myself.
I like it.
But we are going to do the 40K for 4 days, though, right?
Oh yeah,
Again?
buddy. Rasul, I'm going for 100. I need another pin for my medal. And for Verstreleka, I want to do recon division again this year.
Yeah.
2 days, 25 kilometers each day, camp out under a tarp, the whole
That's
thing.
Alright.
Liz and Liz's
Yeah.
mom are welcome to show me the art of how to camp under a tarp. If
You're
My-
welcome to join anytime in our winter
Yeah.
camping fiestas.
I mean, I may have to. I don't know if my equipment is winter worthy, but I guess we'll find out.
That's the whole point, though, honestly. So
But-
this month is at my house. So we're just like alternating back and forth and figuring out like what gear do we have. And we're kind of hoping for inclement weather because then it kind of shakes
Yeah.
up like what you're able to sustain. My mom actually had my 4 nieces and nephews out winter camping the other weekend.
Nice.
Nice.
And
That's
they
awesome.
figured out that my 10-year-old nephew likes coffee first thing in the morning. And yep. And that for the most part, my one niece, she figured out that she needs like more socks. But things like that. So it's kind of cool.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of things around those, but I mean, those are my 3 big fitness goals for the year. I expect we're
Nice.
going to have more, but
Yeah.
I want to get better at rucking. So
Yeah.
I'm going to enter into some ruck contests and bully some people into participating with me.
I like that.
And then I have a
Encourage.
couple of, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Aggressively encourage. And then I have 3 skills that I want to work on that are all shooting related. I intend to win a precision rifle match. I intend to win a service rifle match, and I intend to win a service pistol match.
Wow. There you
I'm
go.
going to win all of the service match. Well, I should say I'm going to win a match of each of the service disciplines in the province of Ontario,
Ooh.
Nice.
because those are all like shooting is a perishable skill, and I don't know about
Yeah,
everybody else,
true.
but the gun ban has affected my arsenal somewhat. The rifles that I would like to shoot for service rifle are not available to me any longer, so I need to figure out a new game plan for that.
Yeah.
So by setting a goal, I have a finite season. We only have so many matches. We only have so many days to do it. They happen at a certain time. So it's time bound. I got to get it done. So I got to get a rifle and get load development and get into shape, which goes with the rucking and the running, in order to
Wow.
be able to compete with, 18-year-olds that are doing it for realsies for the army.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Nice.
Yeah. Going to shoot all the guns. It's going to be an
All the
expensive
guns.
summer.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That's awesome. I'm hoping this year in terms of my physical fitness goals, I would like to get into hiking more. So I'm going to start planning a lot more trail trips. So
Nice.
yeah, and I'm kind of hoping to incorporate some of the camping elements as well. The theme that we're kind of operating under in terms of winter camping is actually, you kind of got to live out of your backpack. So
Yep.
I want to be able to do the same thing in a hiking scenario and kind of tour around a little bit more and actually, combine that with some travel goals. I also would like to be, I don't necessarily have a goal in terms of, I want to lift this much by this time, or I want to run a 5K by this time or whatever. I haven't quite nailed that down. I do have some events that I'm looking at that maybe I want to use as my target. So I'm still solidifying that. I'm hoping to get into some sport shooting, and my range hopefully offers in the spring a black badge course. So I'm hoping to do
So-
that.
Good news. You can do a black badge course anywhere. Doesn't have to be your gun
Yeah.
club.
Right, I know that, but it's just
Okay.
the timeline might be just really effective, because if it's in a few months, then that's going to give me, like time to sort that out. Because I'm also
Yep.
still, in school doing my master's program, which that is just an
That can be
ongoing
time
goal.
consuming.
That
Yep.
is time consuming, and my focus is not the greatest it needs to be. So
Maybe less for Liz's benefit and more for just the general listeners. If you want to get into competitive shooting with handgun or movement, black badge is probably the way to go. And you can just go to your province's IPSC website and find when they're doing black badge courses.
Yeah.
And also you can aggressively encourage your gun club to contact IPSC and host those events.
Or if you prefer wearing fishing vests, you can get into IDPA.
Yeah, I'd still recommend just getting your black badge, even if you're not going to shoot IPSC,
Yeah.
just because it's a pretty recognized.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm fortunate because the little gun range that I just joined, they actually host an IPSC match. I think every year they try to. So that's kind of nice. It's a good opportunity to kind of up that skill. So yeah.
What else are you working on?
Reading is a big thing. A book from Gavin's proverbial page. I would like to set literally a book out of Gavin's page. I'd like to set a
Joke.
I know, right? I'd like to set a volume of books that I have to read this year. Much less than Gavin did, because that was an epic amount, sir. But
start with the top 10 banned books in libraries.
Yeah, I kind of worked my way through a bunch of those this year. It was fun.
I don't necessarily think that I have a theme, because I really do have to kind of try and alternate between like intense intellectual to casual reading. Otherwise, it gets to be very arduous.
Like
I
you
have a
said,
hard time
you'll find
focusing after
a
a
nice
while.
melange on that list, actually, and some surprising entries on there.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. So yeah, I am still like working on my goal list, and kind of hashing out how to achieve that. So I did just get back in the province yesterday and crashed for a few days, so I have not prepared adequately to launch on January 1st. So I'm gonna have to, pull an Andrew and choose an arbitrary day just to defy the calendar.
It's not that I'm trying to defy the calendar. It's just that I don't respect your bullshit calendar.
Same thing. Same
thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got
just
a few
another
other
Sunday.
goals, but yeah, those are the shareable ones.
And anybody from anything else, or anything from anybody else? Anything else we have going on in the calendar year?
No, but the only thing I'll say is I'll kind of piggyback off one of the listeners saying taking more family time a little more seriously. We kind of get sidetracked with little things at home, no tasks you want to do or whatever. But I think we're gonna try and be more consistent with our family game nights, or family movie nights, or whatever. Spend some
Nice.
time.
That's
Daughter's starting
great.
to get to that age where if we start saying, "Oh, I'm too busy," or "Oh, we're doing something," they'll start remembering. So get a little more consistent and hopefully get her on some of those skill sets, whether it be cooking, cleaning, woodworking, fixing, anything around the house. So
No, that's a
I
good
think
thing.
I'll piggyback off that one. It's a good easy goal to set forward.
All right. I suppose we ought to wrap it up. We haven't done any news, and that's okay. We'll save some news for next week.
Say we all know that this coming year is going to be shitty. So
Oh yeah, the government's going to try to do uncomfortable things to me.
Well,
yeah,
75 hard will help with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're going to be used to the uncomfortable.
Is that part of your 45-minute workout though?
Let's hope not.
I mean, that might save Gavin some time.
Oh boy.
I meant like he was complaining about the time commitment.
Exercise sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It'll be fine. Or it won't. Whatever. It'll be something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see if I'm still on next week, if I can say that I made it a week.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm gonna give it a go. We'll see. I've got a bunch of trips coming up, so it's gonna be interesting working around those, but I'll give it my best.
Well, I think that was part of why I wanted to get it done now. It's pre-shooting season,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once shooting season comes, it's gonna be carving out the time to do actual dedicated exercise, not just like standing around at the range, is gonna be hard to come by.
Well, early mornings and late nights.
Yeah, but I have to prioritize my sleep and wear my cool guy
Yeah, I know.
sunglasses.
I gotta
That's
release
a
my
big
inner
thing.
Jocko. Yeah.
I have to say that, prioritizing sleep makes the world of a difference.
Yeah.
Which is why we're going to be signing off here shortly, as I need to go put my blue blockers on and get myself ready for bed.
And it's also fitting in all the bathroom trips, drinking a gallon of water a day.
God, I've had to pee so much today.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
No,
You're
it's possible to be overhydrated.
Yeah.
It's true, but you're just catching up. You're just catching up.
It's cleansing, purging.
Maybe,
You might be you'll be surprised. Like if you find that, I don't know about anybody else, but like in the wintertime when the air gets dry, my skin gets obviously more dry. You drinking that water will prevent that.
I mean, I feel like I was already drinking a reasonable amount of water at 2 liters a day, but yeah, let's just go for a whole gallon. It'll be fine.
Yeah, why not?
The only issue I have with that is I work out of my truck, so like I don't have like
Stop
an
and
office
pee.
bathroom.
Stop and pee.
Depending where I'm driving, there are no bathrooms, and I don't want to get caught on the side of the road.
Don't throw your Gatorade bottle out while
I
you're
was gonna
driving.
say.
until you get
It's-
somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't drink Gatorade. That's the thing. I drink water. So
Yeah, no, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll fill you in on some tricks because metrics are important. I track my water, and I can tell you that starting on October 18th of 2022, I have had at least 4 liters of water a day since then.
Wow.
That's insane. At least 4 liters. That means there's days where there were more than 4 liters.
Yeah.
Where do you track that? What do you have an app?
Yeah, the Garmin fitness thing. It's in there. I mean, there's a bunch of them, but like that's the convenient one because
Yeah, because if you have a
use it
Garmin
for
watch
some
or
other
whatever.
stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I track it in there because and I can tell you that I do feel better
That's good. That's
just
the point.
doing that.
Yeah, and you'll probably feel
Definitely.
better in general. Like the water consumption in general probably makes you feel better.
Yes. And try to drink as much of it as you can in the morning so that by the time you go to bed, you don't have to get up to pee in the middle of the night.
That's a thing
Yes.
that happens after you turn 30, I found. You just,
I haven't had that problem, but I'm also okay not discussing our bathroom habits on the
Yeah.
internet.
really?
At least
But
not
that's a
like
new thing that we should get like
in
censored for.
not in front of the paywall. Behind the paywall, we can talk.
Oh.
$5 to find out about my bathroom habits, $20 to not find out about my bathroom habits.
I see it's catching on. Very nice.
And I believe we found a podcast episode title as well. Bathroom habits.
Goodness.
Excellent. Let's go around the panel. When you're not peeing after drinking 4 liters of water, Gavin, where can everybody find you?
Well, I guess at least for 45 minutes a day, you'll be able to find me outside doing exercise for the next 75 days. And you'll see my apparently daily selfies on the gram, Urbex GTA.
I mean, there's not a requirement you have to post them on social media, but good for you if you want to show off, bud.
No,
That's
maybe
a
I'll just
good
do like
accountability.
a weekly thing, and it'll just be like a video of me slowly getting skinnier.
Just a
or
photo
something.
dump of Gavin. It's like a
Yeah.
7-day montage.
Yeah,
Man, the
Just like
theme
some
from
epic
Rocky is going to get
yeah.
so played out.
epic 80s music from like Kickboxer or something,
Or
Bloodsport.
or the montage song from Team America.
Yeah, that works
Oh.
too.
Screw that. Take my breath away every time.
Careless Whisper.
Nice. Oh, who was that? Was that Dave that suggested Wham at the bar the other day? That was a good time.
No, that was the Cougar. Dave just suggested The Stroke by Billy Squire.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow, Dave and his Cougars getting it done.
Liz, where can everybody find you?
I'm never on Gilded, but I happen to be on Gilded, and you can find me on Instagram, the Rebel Wanderer, or you can follow my gym. It's called the Basement Gym. Either of those places is just fine, or you can jump on the YouTube when we're live on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I usually chat back. So there you go. That's where you can find me.
Pierre, where can everybody find you and your very stylish t-shirts?
Awful customizing. I think we might be back on Facebook, Instagram, Tickety Talks up. But yeah, you can find us, Google us. I'm on the Gilded app as well. Barely on there. Most of the time I get busy at work and then realize there's like 90 things I gotta check, and I'm like, I just give up and close the app. And then sometimes Sunday nights at 9, I'm on the other CPP, the Prepper podcast, trying to be a little bit nicer than I am on, or more politically correct than I am on Monday nights. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Right on. Last, certainly not least, but definitely the most person to the west, Ian, where can everyone find you?
Well, let's see here. I guess the only place I'm allowed is the Gilded app. So yeah, I'm on there. It looks like I'm downloading the Strava app to kind of prove my exercise. So that'll be I can't remember what my username on Strava is, but I'll find you guys and add myself. And then let's see here. I guess you can email me the islandretreat@gmail.com. And of course, Canadian Prepper Podcast, Sunday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern on the YouTubes and the Facebooks.
What's that about?
Well, it turns out it's
Goats.
not so much politically correct. It's just less political, but a little bit more wiping your own ass in society and becoming less dependent on the government for emergency services.
Wisdom.
All good things.
Yeah.
All good things. If you've listened to the show this long, you deserve a discount code if you're shopping at ragnaroktactical.ca, which you should be. If you're shopping at ragnaroktactical.ca, use a discount code Patriot at checkout. Save yourself some money. Literally take money out of my child's college fund. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable New Year's resolutions.